Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz, and this is Ron's Bank Shot Breakdown. We're going to go over 5 college basketball games for Saturday, December 3rd, 2022. Now, if you like what you see, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to put your college basketball picks in the comments section below. And if you're looking for my best bets, you can always find those at the Premium Picks tab at pickdawgz.com. Alrighty, let's get into it. Here are the games for Saturday, December 3rd. First up, we see a game in the Big East Big 12 battle between Villanova and Oklahoma. This one at 12:30 Eastern start time on CBS. Now, Villanova's got to be the best 2-5 team in the country, as they do have 5 losses, but all 5 of those against some pretty solid teams. Now, when you're Villanova, having 5 losses and being 2-5 at this point in the season is never a good thing and never an okay thing, but you look at their losses: Temple on the road, Michigan State on the road, Iowa State in overtime at a neutral site. It was a semi-road game against Portland, a pretty sneaky team this year, and then the Oregon loss as well. Those are some tough teams, and now you're home here. You get Oklahoma playing in its first true road game this season. And I do think Oklahoma is a little bit overvalued and overrated. In my opinion, I've watched a good amount of the Sooners basketball this season, and they struggle offensively in terms of just turnovers. Offensive rebounding is basically not there at all. They're ranked 349th in the country. So, if Villanova is good on the defensive glass, which they've been so-so this season, they're going to be holding Oklahoma to 1 shot per trip. And on the road, I don't really like their chances. I don't like Oklahoma's chances offensively in this spot. I think this is the toughest matchup they've had this year. Pretty weak schedule overall for Oklahoma. And like I said, their first true road test, it is not an easy place to play in Villanova. Even though the disappointing start to the season, there's still going to be fans in the building, that's for sure. And Villanova's season's not dead yet. This is a must-win game. If you want a resume-building, a resume-boosting win, this is the game you got to grab against a solid Oklahoma team that's ranked 30th in KenPom. This is your quad 1 win that you need to grab, and I think they're going to get it. I like Villanova here. I'm going to lay the points and take them on the money line as well. Next up, we see Wisconsin taking on Marquette. This one's going to be a 4:30 Eastern start time on Fox Sports 1. Wisconsin's coming off a bad loss to Wake Forest, and Marquette's coming off a blowout win. They're on a 3-game win streak. Their last game against Baylor, 96-70 final score. But because of those games, because of these last 2 games for these 2 teams, I think there's some value on the underdog in Wisconsin. I think Wisconsin's a lot better offensively than what we've seen. They're ranked 110th in adjusted offensive efficiency, but they're 304 in effective field goal percentage, 317th in offensive rebounding percentage, 355th in 2-point field goal percentage. These numbers are going to sharpen up as the season continues. Wisconsin's not going to be in the bottom 60 in college basketball, Division I college hoops, in these important offensive metrics. So, as those numbers improve, Wisconsin's going to be able to score some more points per game, and the defense is already in a pretty good spot, and it's not only doing well this season, I think it's a really good matchup for Wisconsin. This is a Marquette team that we saw in that blowout win over Baylor shoot 12 of 25, 48% from 3 in that game. Marquette loves to shoot a lot of 3-pointers, and Wisconsin just has not given up the 3 this season. Opponents are shooting 25% from 3 against Wisconsin. That's 13th best in the country for a 3-point defense, 16th ranked in adjusted defensive efficiency. They're forcing some turnovers. They're strong on the defensive glass, which is really important against Marquette because they've been able to get those second chance looks at times this season and kick it out for a corner 3 again. This is a team that, like I said, loves to look for that 3-point shot. And Wisconsin being a good 3-point defense and a good defensive rebounding team, I think it gives them the edge in this matchup. So if you're going to give me some points with Wisconsin, I think it's a good spot to take them. Give me the Badgers plus the points. Next up, we see Oral Roberts taking on Tulsa. This one's going to be a 3 o'clock Eastern start time on ESPN+. Now, we know Oral Roberts doesn't really worry about the defensive side of things, and we see that in a lot of teams in the Summit League, and even when Oral Roberts made their run in the NCAA tournament, it wasn't because of their defense. And Oral Roberts this season ranked 248th in adjusted defensive efficiency. Very, very bad. They don't force many turnovers. They're not good on the defensive glass. But the reason why Oral Roberts is one of the favorites to win the Summit League yet again this year, and the reason why they pulled off those big-time upsets in the NCAA tournament and have been a solid mid-major school ever since, is because of their offense, led by one of the best scorers and shooters in the country in Max Hmas. And this is a guy that's off to a little bit of a slow start this season. When you look at his 3-point shooting, 7 of 30 to start the year against Division I schools in particular, 23%. We know Hmas is nowhere near that, and it's really, we're only just waiting for him to start getting hot from 3. We know he's going to be able to get there. Last season, even though Oral Roberts didn't get back to the NCAA tournament, Hmas was still 38% from 3, and that's on 280 attempts. So he took more 3-point shots than most players in the country last year. I think he's going to, it's only a matter of time before he gets going from the perimeter and from the 2-point range as well. And Connor Vanover, the nice transfer from Arkansas, he's also had a little bit of a slow start to the season. Overall, Oral Roberts hasn't been the sharpest this year, just in terms of their win-loss record. 5-3 overall, but only one of those wins against a Division I school in Texas Southern. Their 3 losses to tough teams, St. Mary's, Houston, and Utah State. So they have been battle-tested in their games on the road, and they're on the road in this spot as well. But, their wins against some subdivision schools, nothing too impressive. I think Oral Roberts is going to break out, and this is a good spot to take him, in my opinion, against a Tulsa team that we really can't trust on either side of the ball. They're on a 3-game losing streak. All three of those games were either at a neutral site or on the road, but still, I don't think it's going to be much of a difference for Tulsa playing at home here. A team that doesn't rebound the ball very well. Like I said, not a very good offense. They don't shoot the ball very well, ranked 213th in effective field goal percentage. They don't get to the free throw line. They don't shoot the ball well from the perimeter. Yes, their defense is sharp from the perimeter so far, but Tulsa hasn't really faced a good perimeter shooting team quite yet this season. Oral Roberts, like I said, with Max Hmas waiting to break out, this is a good spot to take the Golden Eagles. So I'm going to take Oral Roberts here on the money line on the road. Next up, we see Coppin State taking on Loyola, Maryland. This one's going to be a 5 o'clock Eastern start time on ESPN+. Not a marquee matchup, that's for sure, but these are the type of games I really look for in college basketball, just in terms of value, and I think we're going to get some value here with Coppin State on the road. I would not be surprised to see this team win it outright, but give me the points for sure. When you look at Coppin State, yes, their defense is not good. There is no doubt about that. They gave up 109 points last game to UMBC, 95 points the game before to Maryland. They gave up 80-plus points to Marshall and Towson, 99 to Georgetown, 82 to Charlotte. The defense is not good. It's ranked 320th in adjusted defensive efficiency. A very bad defensive rebounding team. That's for sure. But you got to look at the teams that Coppin State has played this season. They played a lot of good offenses. Georgetown, even though they're not good defensively, still a pretty good offense. Maryland, like we know, Towson, Marshall, these are solid offenses, at least in the top 200 in KenPom in adjusted offensive efficiency. You're not getting that in Loyola, Maryland. And in fact, Loyola, Maryland is the second worst offense that Coppin State has faced this season. The worst was Tennessee Tech, and that was a road victory for Coppin State. Their lone road win this season over Tennessee Tech in overtime by 5 points. Now, the third worst offense that Coppin State played in terms of adjusted offensive efficiency was Mount St. Mary's, and that, again, was another win for Coppin State, 83-78 the final. We see a Loyola, Maryland team that's ranked 281st in adjusted offensive efficiency, a team that turns the ball over left and right. Yes, they're efficient from the perimeter, but Coppin State's actually pretty solid in terms of their perimeter defense. That's the one thing that they've done a pretty good job of so far this season, and I don't think that the Loyola, Maryland team is going to be ready for the pace of play that Coppin State uses. They're 18th in average possession length on offense, while Loyola, Maryland's ranked 242nd. So just in terms of the pace of play, the inefficiencies on offense for Loyola, Maryland, I think this is a good matchup for Coppin State. I like them to pull off the upset win, so give me the points with not the Golden Eagles, just the Eagles. And the final game we're going to talk about for Saturday's card in college basketball, it's between St. Mary's and Houston. This one a 9:30 Eastern start time on ESPN2. When I'm looking for underdogs to back against Houston, there's a few really important things I'm looking for in these teams defensively, and St. Mary's really checks off those boxes. Even though St. Mary's is on back-to-back losses, they lost to Washington and New Mexico, the offense has struggled to score down the stretch. I like what I'm seeing from St. Mary's on the defensive end, and we've seen that in the last few years from Randy Bennett's teams. When you look at St. Mary's, they're number 10 in adjusted defensive efficiency. Really important there. They're 13th ranked in two-point defense, which is extremely important against a Houston team that's known for its front courts and known for scoring points in the paint. They're 38th in the country right now in two-point offensive field goal percentage. So those are two really key things, but the most important thing for me is a team that can defensive rebound, get those defensive rebounds on the glass. And Houston, we know year after year, with their front court presence, is going to be in the top 5, top 10, at worst top 25 in offensive rebounding percentage. Right now, they're ranked number 4, and it's one of the bigger reasons why they're number 1 in the country in the AP polls. But St. Mary's can compete on the defensive glass. They're number 6 in the country in defensive rebounding percentage. So we've seen St. Mary's teams just last year and many years before compete with these top 5, top 10 programs in these types of games, pull off the outright upsets, if not at least cover the number. And even though this is a younger than usual St. Mary's team with a good amount of scoring production lost in the offseason, I still think St. Mary's has a good enough front court and a good enough back court, honestly, from the perimeter especially, a pretty good three-point shooting team to compete with Houston in this game. If not pull off the outright upset, at least cover the number in the end. You know, in a game like this where the total is very low, it sets up to be a pretty low-scoring game. Points are they come at a premium, and getting a lot of points in this type of matchup just too valuable for me. Give me St. Mary's and the points in this one, and maybe Houston's on upset alert. And that's it. Those are the games we're going to talk about for Saturday's card in college basketball. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. And don't forget to put your college basketball picks in the comments section below. Again, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at Pickdawgz Premium. As always, this is Ron Romanelli. Good luck.